Hey everyone, it's Allison from Fathom 5 Tarot, and I am going to do another tarot tag. I had so much fun doing my tarot tag from Sunset Bough Tarot, and she left a lovely comment on my tag. I can link it below if you're interested, or maybe I'll put it in the cards. And it inspired me to look back through her channel, which I love. If you don't know Sunset Bough Tarot, you should totally check her out. And she had another fun tag a few weeks ago, so I'm pretty late to this one. But I just saw in this time where I was feeling like sort of alienated from my own practice that this would be a fun way to do it. And I really enjoyed responding to a tag. So maybe it's just not a time where I have a ton of creativity to give right now, but I can maybe play along until I do have something new to put out there. So this particular tag is Do I Have a Deck? And it was actually started from a French channel that I should have written down so that I could I can actually pronounce French pretty well, but I just now can't remember what it is and I didn't write it down. So I will link it below as well for the original video. But it's got all these fun prompts, like do I have a deck that fits this bill? And some of them are really creative and I've never heard them before. So they're listed below if you'd like to play along if you haven't already, and I can't wait to watch everybody's responses to this. So let's get started. So I'm just looking over at my list and I've got billions of decks out here. So the first prompt is, do you have a two-colored deck? And I was like, I don't think I do. I don't think I do. I have black and white-ish decks like the Wild Unknown, but turns out I really like color. This is the closest. I think it's a cheat. I'm already cheating because it's a black and white deck. And it's Lenormand, and it is the Aurum Lenormand by an artist named Melissa Wotherspoon and her son Lochlan Wotherspoon. This is just from last year, and so you can already get the gist. It's a black and white deck, but it is shot through with gold, and it is a beauty. So these are the backs. And then it's a standard Lenormand deck. Now this is my only Lenormand deck. It's something I'm just exploring. Isn't it gorgeous? So it's a black and white deck. Every card is shot through with gold. And I think the Japanese practice it's mimicking here is Kingutsu, I think is how you pronounce it. I could have that totally wrong. I should have looked that up too before I started. The idea of mending broken pottery with gold to make it a newer and more beautiful piece of art than it was before, which I love. And even though it's black and white, you can see how she has used the coloration so well. Like it's so nuanced, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Like, look at how gorgeous it is. I considered this one also for my multicultural one, even though it seems strange with Lenormand because there's so few people in Lenormand. She does have man and woman. Look, here it is right on the bottom. But she also has person to, support people who want to define the human element of the deck in that way. And the person is in a wheelchair with a little baby. Isn't that so beautiful? I think my cat just pushed my door open. She doesn't like being left out. So it's a glorious deck. I really, really love it. And look at that tree card. Like, it's just so pretty. So that's the closest thing I have to a true black and white deck. Oh, it's gilded. And I'm cheating already. Question 1, already a cheater. What are you going to do? That's just who I am. Oh God, this is going to be a nightmare. It's going to be so messy. Okay. Question 2, do you have any multicultural decks? And I do. Both of them are downstairs in my living room. It just happens to be that they were both there. And I can't go down there because my husband and daughter are putting together something for Mother's Day and I'm not allowed to go downstairs, which is why I'm recording this now. So one is the World Spirit Tarot, which is beautiful. I have shown it on this channel before, but I really made me want to go and play with it some more. And the other is the Seer Tarot, which is, of course, quite a new deck and lots of people know and love it. So we've got that. So in the meantime, I got out another one, which I think is great. Now, again, it's a bit of a cheat because this is supposed to be like an otherworldly deck, but it's the Tarot of the Cat People. This was published first in 1985. Hi. And I really, if you look at the faces, like obviously there's a cat in every deck. But a lot of thought has been given here to a multicultural world that has been created. Let's see what else we got here. It's kind of hard because the people's faces are quite small, like the cards are quite scenic. But in an era of like tarot so white, this deck is not that. And there's, of course, a cat on every card. Oh, I'm just trying to find some more examples. Oh, clearly Egyptian themed. There we go. So, I don't know if you could necessarily directly call this representation, but it's getting to see people who look different than your standard tarot deck. So I wouldn't say it's my best example. It was the one I had to hand, and it's the Tarot of the Cat People. I found this used. It looks like it's never been used, but the deck and the book for $5. So I don't really use it very much, but it's fun to look through, and I picked it up. And so I'm sorry I didn't have my other ones ready to go. My husband just dashed by and I wasn't supposed to see him and say hi. So I can't wait to see what my surprise is. Okay, decks by different artists. I have one. There it is. This is one of the first decks I got, and it made it into the first video that I ever made on YouTube, and never again since because I never use it. It's the Elora Tarot. Now, where I live in Ontario, the town of Elora, it's got Velcro on the box. You can see here my cat chewed the box. My cat, honestly, what a delinquent. Elora is not very far from where I live, and this was an art project where this woman who's interested in tarot commissioned different artists to create the Elora Tarot deck. Well, this is a perfect example. So what you'll see in the cards is that there are different Elora landmarks. So this point in the river is really famous in Elora. The mill in the back there is really famous. So it's not all of the cards necessarily linked to the town. She just went to artists and said, here's the meaning of this card, give me your interpretation. So here's a very different example, the King of Swords. Here's another one, Eight of Pentacles. Now, in terms of reading, oh, here's a really different again. It doesn't really work for me. I like a way more cohesive deck than this. But it doesn't mean that I don't like this deck. And this might be one of my all-time favorite Eight of Swords. Cocktail swords? I mean, come on. Here's another shot of the river that would be immediately recognizable as in that geographic area. So that's kind of fun to be able to go and see these places. Ten of Cups, elephants. But I just never read with it. And some of the cards I don't actually agree with. And there were some mishaps. Some artists couldn't complete one artist died. So in that place to honor her, there's a painting of hers, but she didn't create it with that card in mind. So while I really appreciate that her work was included and that she wasn't excluded from the project, I think it's awesome. It just doesn't hold together the deck for me, but I do really like to look at the images, which is why I've held on to it for so long. Look at that Eight of Wands. Now, again, that is like a community outdoor oven in a park in Elora, which I just love, like all these little things. Some of them I don't get. Don't get it. And this is the back, which I don't love. I just wish it didn't have words on it, although it is fully reversible, so that's pretty cool. And these cards are humongous. That's fine, because they're beautiful pieces of artwork. So, So while I don't really use it as a tarot deck, I am very glad to have it in my collection, and I will never let go of it. And it was one of my early tarot decks, and it really helped me learn, because as I looked at the different artists' interpretations, I could think about what I like, what I don't like, make some decisions about what I think about tarot. So that was fun. No keywords or symbols or numbers. The only thing I could think of was, it was actually what I've seen before. People talk about soul cards. This happens to be soul cards too. I also have Soul Cards 1 that I use a lot. I love these cards so much. They're so evocative and so open to interpretation, and like, oh, they're so cool. And it's the strength of not having the keywords or numbers or symbols on them that really makes them so special, I think. I love the Soul Cards decks. Boxes with shades of blue. Okay, I got a couple. One is the Spacious Tarot. It's got sort of navy and blue, and then different blues for names. I gotta tell you, I love this deck so much, and after I got it, it was basically all I was using to meditate, to think, just to like put myself into the world of the card. I just think it's gorgeous. I'm so happy I got it from the Kickstarter. But I have to say, I've been using it a little bit less because now that we're all social distancing, I've been less drawn to empty landscapes, which is totally normal, I think. These are the backs. So this was created by, oh shoot. Carrie Mallon and, where'd I put the book? Darn it, I'm so sorry. I can't think. I'm sorry. But anyway, Spacious Tarot, check it out. It is a beaut. I love it. Oh, I'm holding on to the book at the back like an idiot. Carrie Mallon and Annie Root? I don't know. Rugyt. It's so great. It's so great. I love it. And I think the time will come when I'm really looking to use this deck more again. It's such a beauty. But it's funny. Now I want to see people in my cards. I guess it's not surprising, but so that's one with multiple blues. And the other that has multiple blues that I could think of on my box is the Lowrider Tarot, which is an entirely Dachshund inspired deck. I've talked about this. I actually did a little bit of review on this deck. And I wasn't sure about it at first because while I'm a huge dog lover, I don't know really anything about this breed. But it's so universal if you love dogs. And I think it's adorable the way it's horizontal, because this is the shape of a dachshund, a wiener dog. And it's really so well thought out. The associations are just great. The little faces on these dogs and their eyes. Like, okay, can we just, this fool? Oh my God. I should say I almost put this into my children's deck as well. I think this will work really well with children. It just happened to have blue on the box, which is why I slotted it in here. And and part of it is the death cards are really beautiful and not at all threatening, which is why I almost put it in the children's one. But look at these little guys, and they just sort of transcend the one breed of dog. Oh my God, I love this strength card so much. It's got such a fun sense of humor. And I should also point out, check this out. So this deck was done by Melissa Wotherspoon, the same artist as the Aurum Lenormand I showed at the beginning in this video. Look at that diversity of talent in one artist. You'd never guess these were made by the same person. They're so beautiful in their own right. She's amazing. She's an Ontario artist from Peterborough, Ontario, and her Etsy shop is Painterspoon, and I really suggest you check these decks out because they're great. I don't think they're getting enough love really from the online tarot community. She's just so talented. How do you make those two kinds of diverse decks and make them both so beautiful in their own way? Blows my mind. Okay, children's then. So let's think about the low rider also being in my children's one. It's not a video of mine unless I show the Halloween tarot. I chose the one in a tin because it's so cute for kids. I'm just going to show a couple cards because what can I say that I haven't already said about this deck? It is woefully underrated in my opinion. I think people write it off as kitschy children's deck. Works great for kids, but boy oh boy, have they really given excellent thought to this deck. I love it all year round. It makes me happy every time I look at it. It's the reason I didn't get the Dark Mansion because I like this better. Even though I love the art of the Dark Mansion, I just love this deck so much. I don't need the Dark Mansion. It's just so perfect. Look at that strength card. Look at it. Oh. Anyway, wouldn't be me if I didn't talk about that little deck. My other deck, children's deck, is the Whispering Spirits Tarot, which I shouldn't say like it's suitable for children, and I really like it. I do not have the Mons Tarot, also by Joanna Nelson, which I know people love. And I had an opportunity on the Kickstarter for this to buy one of the remaining Mons Tarots. I think there might be a reprint, but I kind of like this one better. I like their little innocent eyes that you can, when you look at cards next to each other, you can think about what they're thinking based on what else is happening in the layout. Whereas I find that the Mons Tarot is a little bit more specific in facial expression. I love all the little spirits, the little bubbles, that little seahorse with wings, this little bunny nubbin down at the bottom. I just love everything about it. The slightly more human quality of these. I just love this deck. Look at this. Look at that little Nine of Swords. Like, what does that held tilt looking up mean? Is it finding the courage? Is it worrying? Like, you can interpret differently based on what's next to the card. I think that's so awesome and so smart. The backs are stunning. I know there are lots of people who are Mons Tarot all the way, and it is a beautiful, beautiful little deck and so much fun. But for me, Whispering Spirits all the way. I love it. Okay, duplicate decks. I actually have quite a few duplicate decks. Well, not quite a few. Morgan Greer, I got a billion Rider-Waite-Smiths just because that's who I am. But the one I chose I got two for duplicate decks, and because one of them is my out of print and rare, maybe I'll leave that. Maybe I'll just talk about one duplicate deck right now, and it is Pagan Otherworlds. Oh man, and it was just because somebody in my area was selling their copy of the Pagan Otherworlds. It's not an inexpensive deck from Canada when you add in the terrible Canadian dollar and shipping. And so I just thought, I'm going to pick up this deck because what happens if something happens to my Pagan Otherworlds? I love this deck so much. It is so beautiful. I have some friends who really like it when I read for them with this deck. I've talked about this deck a lot because I thought I was really going to have a problem with the dead animal skins that people wear in this deck, but it was so beautiful I just got over it. Anyway, Pagan Otherworlds. What a great duplicate. I'll leave my other one till the out of print rare. Okay, this one's ridiculous. Deck's just about the physical body. There's only one I could think of for this, and it's the Zombie Tarot. I mean, I don't really know how else to interpret that particular prompt, but if it's all about zombies, then this deck is it. Like, there is a lot of physical bodies in this deck. Some of them are dismembered. This is a really fun deck. Actually, reading the guidebook is a laugh out loud experience. It's so cleverly put together. I love this art style. I wish it wasn't so gory. Some of it really does make you want to lose your lunch. And while it makes it a very specific time of year deck for me. But it is great. So, physical body. That's all I could think of, really. I'll be interested to see what other people put on there. Out of print rare. I've got a couple. So this one is one of my duplicates. and it is Vampires Tarot. Tarot of the Vampires? Vampires Tarot. I always get those mixed up. Vampires Tarot, I think, by Robert M. Place, who is just such a gorgeous work of art. I have 2 copies of this deck, and I got both of them for less than $50 Canadian. I found one brand new in a used bookstore, cellophane still on it, which made it very hard to separate these cards. They're very shiny, and it took me forever to safely separate them. And then somebody was selling theirs for $20 in my area, and so I got that one too. The guidebook for that one's a bit more beat up, but again, I was like, how can I let a Robert Place deck go by? It's such a good price. They're so gorgeous. It's a great deck, and I know people look for it, and I might sell one of them one day, but I haven't been able to bring myself to yet. There are so many things about these cards that I don't like. I don't like how shiny they are. I don't like the backs, but everything is taken away when Robert Place's work is so beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, so I have a couple copies of that out of print one. The other out of print one I was happy to get was the Hoi Polloi Tarot. I do love the Rider-Waite-Smiths. I love the 70s coloring of this one, and the big banner at the bottom cracks me up. My ultimate wish list, I think, that would give me some satisfaction in the Rider-Waite-Smith world is the Golden Rider. I still haven't been able to get my hands on that. I remain hopeful. But this is the Hoi Polloi with the key. I do actually have the box, the guidebook, the whole shebang. The box is a little bit beaten up. But I do have it, but I just keep it in a box in storage because it's quite large and hard to put on my bookshelf. And so those are my most difficult to find decks, I think. Wow. And if I had to choose one for only food on the cards, which I do not have, and I don't even know if I'd want, Zombie Tarot. Right? Because everybody's food now. Everybody's food. All these people. Food. She's not food yet, but someone wants to eat her. I can't. Food decks? I know there is a deck it's about cooking, but I don't think it has only food on it. I can't think of one. Except for, I guess, Sunset Bough Tarot, she talked about one that's got like different cups of beverages, like coffee or tea or hot chocolate or something. So that's pretty cool. I'd never seen that deck before. It's very cute. But food, like, is there one? Let me know. So those are all the prompts. Thanks for watching. If you watch this, it's really doing my soul good to do some tags. I might do a few more just to get myself back into it, because I do enjoy making these videos and I love to play with my cards, but I felt so disconnected over this period. So really appreciate it. So thanks a lot. Do the tag and then I can watch yours. I'm going to go check out the ones now that are still there, and have a great day.